You are now listening to
Likely to Dispute,
hosted by Monkas, Reed, and Tyler. How's everybody doing? It's Cevan, aka the Monkas. Join with me today, as always, is Reed and Tyler. This is episode 29 of Likely to Dispute.
We have a wonderful week 2 preview. Sorry, week 2 recap, week 3 preview for you this week. Second week was much more fruitful for fantasy football this week across the NFL. A lot higher scores this week and a couple of shootouts. But we're going to start here with a new opening segment, and we're going to pass it to Tyler to give us the intro to that.
Yeah, so I was thinking today about something we could kick off the episode with, and I was thinking back to past years in fantasy, and specifically, I remember that one Tyreek Hill game where he was given the peace sign when he was on the Chiefs against the Buccaneers, and that was the Tyreek Hill week. So I thought it'd be fun for all of us to each name a headliner, someone when you think of the specific week, who was a headliner of that week. And so we can look back and say, oh, this was the Tyreek Hill week. Or in this case, we have our 3 selections here. Can be a good reason, can be a bad reason. But just someone we think was a headliner for the week. And when we look back, we'll remember it as their week in a way. So I can start.
I was going to say, I'll go first because I think I have the right answer here.
Yeah.
You guys, I mean, for both of your benefits, you better hope this isn't the Tucker Craft or the Rome week because that means they peaked this week. And I think for you guys, 2 shares of Rome between you guys in our 2 leagues, and then Tyler owning Craft in our other league, if they peaked this week, then that's kind of sad. So I think I have the right answer here. Not that there's a competition, of course. It's all just about the fun.
Could be a lot.
But I'm saying that when you're talking about this season, week 2, that was the week Burrow went down. That makes sense. Not a whole lot of fun there for me as the Burrow owner and as the Chase owner. Big downgrade to whatever the heck I'm going to end up starting at my second Superflex spot from now on. Not a huge downgrade, but a downgrade nonetheless for the number 1 pick in redraft this year in Jamar Chase. So, yeah, pretty big week, pretty consequential week across the NFL as the Bengals still have 15 more games and unsure how many of those Burrow will play, if any of them. So, pretty important headliner for this weekend, both for my fantasy team and the NFL.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that one. That it was the big injury story of the week, unfortunately. Definitely, if I had to make another pick, that'd probably be it. I mean, yeah, like you said, there's no wrong answer here. A lot of right answers. So just kind of someone we wanted to highlight. Cevan, I guess you went with Rome.
Yeah, for me, I didn't look at it as like this is going to be his peak. To me, this week 2 signifies the breakout for Rome. You guys know I've been on him all off season, going back to when he was drafted. In week 2, he posted tied a career high in targets, had a career high in reception and yards, and then tied a career high in fantasy points and touchdown. Or no, tied a career high in touchdowns, but he had his first 30-point game. I think this is signifying the start of the breakout for Rome, and we're going to look back at this thread as we'll do of his game logs, and you'll see it starts right there in week 2.
My pick was Tucker Craft. Tucker Craft was shining on prime time. He looked a lot like younger George Kittle, just taking in all those yards after the catch there. He looked elite. He looked like someone who has a bright season ahead of him. He scored 27 points on Thursday night, which was by far the most of any tight end in a single game this season. So I think I chose him because week 2 will be looked at as his breakout game. And it might be his peak, but I don't think his floor is super low. I think he will be a really solid to high end tight end 1 every week. Mid to high end tight end 1.
Tucker Craft is really good. It's too bad the asking price was understandably high prior to the year because I did everything I could to try to acquire him, but he wanted a lot and I wasn't willing to pay it. But he's really, really good.
Is the price he was asking, would you pay that now?
Still no, because it was Jake Ferguson in a first, and Jake Ferguson has also been really good. So if it was just a first, maybe, but not Ferguson in a first. So
All right. Well, let's get into the episode. Run into our week two recap. We have the matchup starting off with one of our co-hosts, Tyler, squeezed out a dub there by about 4 points. We got stud on Tyler's side. Devontae Adams posted over 20. It's good to see. He looks great on Sunday. And the dud was Bill, and that was a shot call from the heavens that we all tried to talk Tyler out of, and it was a vibes thing because he was playing on prime time, if I got that right. Um,
Mhm.
and then on Trent's side, stud Jordan Love in that same game on Thursday night, beating Tucker Craft. And the dud with JJ McCarthy. Couldn't get anything going on that Sunday night football game. I think he took 6 sacks, had 3 fumbles, and 2 interceptions. It was more than a dud. So, Tyler, what about from your perspective on this squeezed out win?
I almost feel bad that I won, not for Trent, not for myself, just for the rest of the league.
for the sanctity of fantasy football,
Yeah,
you
this
should like
is,
reject this win.
I mean, last week Cevan was clowning on Reed for scoring 95, being the only one sub 100. And then I also posted sub 100 and squeaked out a win, which is just, it's ridiculous. Bill was a poor start, bad process. I'll own that now. Um, I kind of lucked out more or less with Trent dealing with some poor performances himself with Aaron Jones. Brock Bowers was okay. Pacheco was poor. JJ McCarthy was really bad. So this was this win had nothing to do with me. Trent and I were just we were it was bad. Two peas in a rotten pod.
Will you be starting Bill again next week? Now that
Uh
Eckler's out.
Monkas Schefter's saying reports are saying no right now.
Interesting. Well, we'll check back in closer to game day for that.
Yep.
Uh, what do you guys think the lowest score recorded in a win last season was, or this season? No, nobody was lower than this season. So just last season.
I think someone might have squeaked out like an 80 some point victory.
I'm gonna say 82.
106.6. So you were
Oh,
12 points lower than the lowest
Wow.
scoring win last season. Sorry,
Wow.
excluding the playoffs because the losers bracket no one really cares. So regular season, the lowest scoring win was 106.65 last year. So,
yeah,
but
it's crazy being the second lowest score on the week and you're getting a win. It's unfair.
Ian's punching air after his 151 point loss by .05 last week. Tyler picking up a 94 point win. But as we've talked about before, no one's going to remember that Tyler won. Okay, maybe we might remember this one, but generally at the end of the year, no one's going to remember what the score was. They just know that you stacked that win, and that's all that matters at the end of the year is did you stack those wins early? And I don't care if it was ugly. It's a
This
win.
is this is better in my mind than a tie, like what happened last year and just threw off the standings all year. I'd much rather someone get a win like this, even if it's not myself, than to deal with a tie in the standings again.
That tie was such a fucking mess.
Yeah.
That tie was if you wouldn't have won that week, that tie would have kicked me out of the playoffs by half a game with the third most points, and I would have been livid. So yeah, I don't want to have any more ties, but we just couldn't come up with a good tiebreaker. So
hmm
ties are still here. Hopefully, we don't have one in the playoffs because we have absolutely no solution for it.
Literally only seen it twice in like the 10 years. So hopefully it doesn't happen in the playoffs. All right, getting into our next matchup, we have Rob versus Cam Thorn. This was Rob said it the best way. It's good to know he didn't waste a good week when your opponent scoring just under 200. Cam posted the second highest score in league history. Um, Nobody on in his lineup scored single digits. You're gonna have a good week if that happens. So on Cam's side, stud Amon-Ra St. Brown, 3 touchdowns, just under 40 points. He tore up the Bears. It was not fun to watch. And then a dud being in the double digits was DK Metcalf. I believe he had like 2 catches, but he scored, so that always helps. And then on Rob's side, we got Bucky Irving, 18, solid week. Robert loves Bucky, so that's good. Then a dud, Evan Ingram, who you guys were on me. I know we're only 2 weeks in, but you guys were on me for not being in on Evan Ingram, and he's not been good through 2 weeks. So maybe a little week two victory lap. But what are your guys' thoughts on this?
Monkas Schefter has reported that Robert has done some tight end shopping around the league. Nothing imminent, but I'm told that that has been occurring. So if you've got a tight end, could be worth reaching out to him. But yeah, I don't have a lot to say here. Cam sent me a threatening text yesterday that I need to give him his props on the pod for putting up a week like this, and I'll give him what he deserves. He put up a damn good week, and again, we've been kind of harping on all off season is like the lineup is solid, but how much can he get out of the quarterbacks? And he got 2 solid weeks. No, nothing crazy, like only getting 55 from your quarterbacks, but then putting up 195 still is incredibly impressive. So obviously he's not going to do this all year. Probably won't do this again this year, but the ceiling for Cevan's dark horse to win the championship is very clearly there uh, to achieve that. Not every team is capable of.
I also want to mention on Cam's team, you formerly owned James Cook, and James Cook has been silencing the haters.
Hmm.
A lot of people saying he can't score touchdowns at the same rate he did last year, but nevertheless, in week two, he has. I mean, through week two, he has with touchdowns in week one and two. So James Cook is the number one running back on the year right now, and I think that's a big reason why Camden's 2-0. So, I mean,
Yeah.
great by him to having acquired him.
Obviously, the trade where I dealt him away was not a one for one trade. It was part of the 5 team
Correct.
trade. But one of the reasons that I traded him away was the fact that the Bills remained insistent on rotating him in a 3-person committee with Ray Davis and Ty Johnson. And now, ironically, the running back I got back in Kenneth Walker is stuck in a committee with backs that are worse than him. So there's just some irony there to appreciate fantasy football that Cook
Wow.
had always kind of been somewhat of in a committee, even though the leading member of a committee, in a committee nonetheless, and Kenneth Walker never really was challenged. Traded,
Bell,
swapped them essentially, and now they flipped roles.
the,
So
be- the bell cow running back is dead.
James Cook says, no, sir, he's alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see the ceiling of Cam Thorn here. I saw the vision long, long ago, so we'll see on that one.
It sounds like Cevan wants his flowers just as much as Camden deserves his. Like Cevan co-owns the team with Camden.
I'm just calling it how I see it. I called it out months ago. I went on a huge rant in like the
Anytime
middle of the summer.
Anytime Cevan can do a week 2 victory lap, you can be sure he'll take it.
All right, getting on to
But
our third
wait. Sorry,
match.
before we go back to that one real quick. Last thing, we mentioned it last week that Cam started with me and now Ian, or sorry, when me, Rob, and now he has Ian, and then he has the 2-0 Monkas the week after that. Like those were 4 of the top 5-ish in basically everybody's power rankings. One of them's undefeated right now. Like the dude is going through a gauntlet, but if he comes out of this at 3-1 or even hell, even 4-0, like that's going to be awesome. So I am rooting for him here to take down the gauntlet and show everybody what's up.
Good to
Yeah, that's
hear.
a great point.
Cam, you got your double, maybe even triple glaze here. So let's get on to the next one. This one,
No glaze
uh,
needed here.
yeah, last week you both picked Sumner to win. You guys wanted in on the season sweep. Season sweep number one is over. Put up a great week for me. Sumner respectable, just under 150. I mean, scoring 148 and losing, it's never a good feeling. Um, but
Scored
yeah, getting into the
54 more points than Tyler.
that's true. But Tyler has a win. Getting
All that
into
matters.
Sumner's team, stud on his team was Javonte Williams. Uh, he's been really good. Surprisingly, I don't think people thought the running back was going to be the running back for the Cowboys was going to be, this involved or score this many fantasy points. But so far, Javonte's looked great. He's looked like him old self. He is the workhorse in that backfield. They've made Jaden Blue a healthy scratch 2 weeks in a row now. So Uh, that's a good keep. And then a dud, Travis Hunter. I think this was what people were afraid of. He pretty much split snaps on offense and defense. He had, I think it was around 40 snaps on defense, and so he's just not playing the whole game. Uh, might have been, it was probably matchup dependent since they were playing, Burrow and or
Mhm.
Chase and Higgins, but
The reason he played defense is because their starting cornerback got hurt in the first quarter, and then he missed at least a quarter. I know he didn't come back till the second half, so he ended up playing a lot more defense than they were expecting him to. This wasn't what it will normally be because I was watching that game. Their starting corner got hurt in the first quarter.
yeah. Well, just the fact that he's the only player that does that, it's just
Hmm.
something to watch. Maybe, you know, I thought I saw something about it going in is that he would get more defensive snaps
Hmm.
with them playing the Bengals. So
Well, when he took over, the Bengals started targeting him a lot on the outside, so they did not
yeah,
have a whole lot of respect for him on defense.
fair enough. And going on my side, we had Malik Neighbors as a stud. If anybody watched that, or at least the end of the Giants game, that was one of the more exciting touchdowns you watch from a fantasy player on your team to get him over 30. The dud was Penix. They just ran the ball all over the Vikings, and so Penix didn't have to actually play quarterback. So Tyler, we'll start with you. Any thoughts on the matchup here?
I mean, full transparency here. It was a great week from both of you. And so, and I only scored 94 points, so you don't even have to listen to me, but I honestly am looking at both teams right now with a little bit more alarm bells than I am praise. Just with Penix, being a non-factor last week or this last week, I think that really shows a low floor for him, a really low floor. And then I'm really worried about Travis Hunter as well and what his role looks like this year and beyond. I think, yeah, you hit the nail on the head with him. I know there were a lot of great performances here, but Penix and Hunter are just such big pieces on each of your guys' team that I'm worried about them. And I mean, I love him too. I want him to be great, but Marvin Harrison Jr., that's the other one on your team that I'd be worried about. Even though you did score 167 points, I'm not taking that away from you, but it's not without it's yellow to red flags in Marv and Penix. So great weeks from you both. I'm probably just I'm looking at this a little bit too negatively, but those were the first things that caught my eyes.
Real quick, Reed, before you go, the way I'm seeing that is I had 10 points from Penix and Marvin and still put up 170. That's
I
probably
know.
because it's my team. That's how I'm looking
I
at
know.
it. Obviously, something to the mean. What's the word?
Regression.
Some yeah, whatever. To the mean. Whatever. If you get to their
I'll give him
average,
props
I
for
mean,
getting close to it.
yeah. I mean, we're looking at something special.
If you take all the elite performances he had, and then you give good performances to the people who didn't have elite performances, his whole team performed elite.
Exactly. Now you're catching on. All right, Reed, you.
I don't really have much else to say here. I think Tyler brought up some good points. I'm glad he's waving the white flag on Marv already. I'll take my victory lap there. But yeah, two good teams going forward. 2-0 Monkas back on top of the league again. Really sucks to get a 148-point loss on Sumner's part, but
Yeah,
he
definitely.
can feel good after a win last week and putting up a respectable performance this week. I believe he is one of the top 1-1 teams in the league as far as the standings because of his points scored. So
Yeah,
he should at least feel good despite getting the loss.
yeah. The unction's still alive.
Oh yeah.
Well said. Get into Swirly Sandy. I was on the right side of this one. I'm not gonna lie,
Hey, nice man.
When I picked Sandy, it was because Deshaun and I were beefing in the chat, and I just wanted to go the other way, and I ended up being right. So, Sandy, Tucker Craft, tight end one on the week. We were all in on him, some later than others, but he's looking like he's making that third year jump. Great performance. Dud, Keon Coleman, uh, in my opinion, similar to just, well, not going to compare, but the game script, the Jets were out of the game in the first quarter. They had, I think 25 passing yards through three quarters. It was a non-competitive game. So I'm still in on Keon. Look for him to bounce back. And on Swerly's side, Achan, he's just, if you watch Dolphins game, they always do this motion to where they have a lead blocker for a check down on every single play. And Devon Achan just catches so many passes that he's just going to be a top five back as long as he is healthy. Just on if he didn't have a rushing attempt, I still think that would be true. And then a dud, Cortland Sutton. Definitely spelled Cortland wrong, but
No,
that
that's
doesn't
correct.
matter.
Oh, someone changed it. I
What
spelled that right. Who deleted the U? Tyler.
doesn't mean
No, what?
I spell checked it because I didn't remember if it was OU or just the O, and I know that I spelled it right.
I did not. Why would I touch
I'm
Cortland
checking the
Sutton?
version history and calling one of you two out.
it wasn't me.
I know it
Anyways,
wasn't you.
well then why'd you even include me in the colon one of you too?
I didn't know if you wanted to admit to it.
It wasn't. Uh, Cortland Sutton, big dud. This one was concerning to me. Uh, we all have our reservations about Denver. Bo Nix has arguably been one of the worst quarterbacks through 2 weeks so far. But to see a wide receiver on Broncos still have an elite game come at the expense of Cortland Sutton, it's kind of concerning. So he's got the depth on his team to, sort through that. But just one game, so maybe it's not a big deal. But uh, I think the dud was more about Bo Nix than it is Cortland Sutton.
Bo Nix had a good game, I believe.
I mean,
He did.
206 yards and three touchdowns. Not a bad game.
as you say, box score watching.
Well,
I
yeah,
think you
no,
say that.
well, that's all we're talking about right now is fantasy.
Yeah.
Well, did he have a good fantasy game?
It was
That's not the point.
23.
My
It's
whole point
fine.
was he's not playing he's not playing great, and Cortland had a bad game. Correlation? Probably. Does it matter? No. Tyler, thoughts?
How come I always go second, Cevan? What the hell?
Well, you were researching something.
No, I was looking at that after.
Okay.
You
Well,
got it, Reed.
Achan's like the PPR scam god. Like he alone is like the reason. Like he is the case to play half PPR. Obviously, you'll never play standard, but like he is the reason you would play half PPR because, like Cevan said, literally all they do is motion him out and they throw the ball 10 or 15 yards horizontally, but 1 yard forward, and then they run their lineman out left or right and block for him just like a running play because their line is so bad that they can't do anything just handing it off to him. So like of those 8 catches, I would guess like 7 of them were like 2 air yards or less because that's all they do because they can't run the ball. So you know what? I tried to get him before the year because I knew this was going to happen. Not maybe not to this extent, but he's as long as he's healthy, even if the Dolphins are an absolute mess, he's a stud. But um, the other thing I had, like when I was looking at Sandy's lineup, I was looking, I was like, how the hell did this guy get 145 points? And then it was basically all just from Kraft and Goff. Like the rest of his lineup was okay, like fine, but nobody else had like a good game. Like when you look at some of the other top scoring teams, like you had a couple of players who kind of had a really good game. He just kind of everybody was mid or worse. And then Goff's
Bijan had a good game.
he was like right at his projection. He was fine. But
Chubb had a
Okay.
good game.
okay, but I'm saying he scored like 13 points. I'm saying like nobody else on his team had a huge game.
Yeah.
Goff and Kraft carried most of it, and again, that's having a tight end that can do that's awesome. Huge
Yeah,
advantage.
real quick, Tyler. This one, Deshaun, if you're listening, shout out to you for guaranteeing the win. I mean, it was awesome. I was chirping at him nonstop. He said he wasn't even watching because there's no way Genti doesn't score 13, which he's never scored 13 in his career, by the way. But here's a fun stat on Ashton Genti. Amongst qualified running backs, I believe it's 54 qualified running backs through 2 weeks. Ashton Genti ranks dead last in uh, yards yards before contact
Hmm.
per attempt at negative zero point 0.1 yards. So he's getting on average every time he touches the ball, he's getting touched before he gets back to the line of scrimmage. So I don't know if that's the line or if he's, you
It would be
know,
pretty hard to be a running back stat on the before contact, unless you're Pacheco and you're running in two guys. That's usually not a good thing, but that's mostly a line, from my interpretation, an O-line stat.
well, whatever it is, he's dead last. So just a fun fact for you.
Okay. Well, all the rookie running backs are struggling right now, so I wouldn't read into that too much. The only thing I want to add here is
Facial.
Deshaun, Deshaun, I miss Zay Flowers. He's a target hog, and he wasn't last year, and he is now. And I hope you're enjoying him because I do miss him. So I like he's a he looks good on your team though. I'll give you your flowers, your Zay flowers, if you will.
God, boo.
Uh, that's all I
No,
had.
it's not good.
I appreciated it, but I didn't like it.
All right, on to Schrader versus K. I believe this was a clean sweep from all of us. Just a not competitive match. Schrader barely getting over 100. Close to being under 100 2 weeks in a row. That would have been something. Anyways, stud for Schrader, 33 from Russell Wilson. Again, if you watched that Giants Cowboys game, that was a very good game to watch. It was fun. Russell turned back the clock. Wandale and Malik Neighbors combining for like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns is fun. Dud on his team, Derrick Henry. Grant Delpit said it was easy to tackle Derrick Henry, and he proved that by getting, I believe, Henry's stat line was like 10 for 24 or something like
11
that.
for
10 for,
23.
yeah, really bad. Uh, that's like the once in a lifetime stat line for Derrick Henry. Going on to K's side, stud, Jonathan Taylor, just under 30 points. Uh, Colts offense wants to run the ball and throw it to Tyler Warren, so everybody's doing their part on the Colts. Um, so yeah, Johnny T, great. Dud, Tyrone Tracy, just under 10. Not the worst for a dud. I mean, he's splitting time, uh, under or single digits, but didn't kill you. I mean, you could have taken a goose and you would have been fine. You would have won by 30, so it didn't even matter. Uh,
Um, can I
yeah.
ask a question real quick? Reed, why did you not choose Hawkinson as case stud? Just out of curiosity.
I chose Tracy because in week one, he was the lead back, and in week two, he completely got usurped as the lead back by Scatabo. So
Yeah,
that was the reason that, again, not necessarily numerically, but considering he won
sure.
by 40 points, I thought him losing the starting running back there in week two was the dud for me.
Yeah, oh, that's fair. I was just curious.
Tyler, any follow-ups on this matchup?
Oh, not too much. Derrick Henry, I thought he had a really weird game. It still kind of baffles me that he only scored 1.3, but I guess you'll have that from time to time with him when he doesn't really catch passes out of the Ravens backfield. So I don't have too much else to add on to this matchup. There wasn't too much else that caught my attention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just tough for Schrader to lose a player to a shoulder injury in the first quarter with
Hmm.
a goose 2 weeks in a row now. Like his receiving core was not really a lot of ceiling, but he had a lot of guys that could be solid like flex plays. And then he lost one of his higher end guys in Worthy, and then another flex play in Jaden Reed. And like I said, in back-to-back weeks with a goose in the first quarter to a shoulder injury. So just a tough break. And Henry, his team kind of goes as Henry goes, and he did not go this week. So
No.
Don't forget to mention he also lost Brock Purdy, but
Rattler played well. I was
yeah,
actually genuinely thought Rattler was playing well when I watched the Saints game this week.
yeah, definitely. The other thing I'll say about the Ravens game is like they scored 40 points and their touchdowns were Devontae Walker, D Hop, I think maybe even a defensive touchdown. I don't know. But yeah,
I believe Devontae
get,
Walker had 2 touchdowns too, which is
yes, he
crazy.
did.
Yes.
He did.
No Bateman in there.
All right,
Come
getting
on.
into the last matchup, we had our matchup of the week. was Ian versus Reed. Um, I think we all picked Ian, correct?
I did not. You
You
two did.
picked yourself.
Yeah, come
Good.
on now.
Yep, my bad. Good on you. Ian, back to back. One lost by, I think, less than a yard. And then this one got blown out of the water, non-competitive. Rookie running backs seem to be a problem as the dud, Omarion Hampton, uh, didn't get his first touch until the second quarter last night. Wasn't fun to watch. Alarm bells all over the place. Maybe that draft capital will come back to save him. Dud on Reed's side, Joe Burrow. He got hurt. What can you say? Even though if he does miss the rest of the season, his points per game is going to be like 7. So
Yeah,
that
he just did not score in double digits this year, so
that's tough. Then going into the studs, Kenneth Walker, after a sketchy week 1, came back uber efficient, scored a touchdown. So it was great. Especially Reed needed to see that just to get his confidence back a little, considering he's in a timeshare now. Then a stud on Ian's side, Lamar Jackson. He's always going to be a stud, even though I guess Josh wasn't. But that's the one thing between Josh and Lamar. I feel like uh, the difference is the Bills will dominate you on the ground, and where Josh Allen can be irrelevant for fantasy. Whereas when the Ravens dominate, Lamar still feels super relevant, in my opinion. I don't know. That's how it feels to me is Josh Allen has more duds than Lamar, but that's not the point.
wouldn't Henry running for a bunch of yards mean Lamar has a dud?
No, because he always does, and Lamar doesn't.
He didn't this week.
But last week when he had like
But you
170
just
and
said
Lamar had
always.
30.
Sorry. No, I got two bones to pick here. First one's with you, Cevan. If you remember last week's pod when you were gargling Ian's nuts, and you said he was going to score 230 points, he dropped less than half of that. There's less than half of that this week.
I was
Um,
talking about Cam.
no, no, no.
No, no,
In
no.
our
You said
matchup,
you did say that
you said that Ian was going to break the league scoring record this week,
by
and then
20
he,
or something.
yeah, and then he dropped 104 points this week.
Okay, Tyler said Trayvion's breaking out last week and
Yeah,
he got the third most running back touches on his own team.
I'll own that versus predicting a new league high
I'm-
score by 20 points.
I said Cam was going to score just under 200. You guys misheard me.
No,
I will roll the clip if I can figure out how to do it in iMovie. I will roll the clip. But if not, then
No,
you'll just have to
I,
go back to the pod last week. Second off, Ian, man, I was trying to show you respect in the chat. I said, yeah, don't talk shit to people who I respect. You don't respond to me. Cevan responds with a picture of pickles in his ring, and you immediately throw a laughing face up there. Man, fuck you, buddy. You know what? I should have talked shit, beating your ass like this. So sorry. That's all I had. I had a good week. Hoping this means more touches for Kenneth Walker. Hopefully, I can find a quarterback to start for me the rest of the year or most of the rest of the year. And Rashid Rice will be back in 4 weeks. Start the countdown.
I don't mean to critique, but if you were going to say fuck you, buddy, then don't follow it up with immediately saying sorry. But that's just
I don't
food for
remember what I
thought.
said. I was in a fit of rage after "fuck you, buddy." I don't even know what I
You,
said.
you apologize afterwards.
Okay, I take back that apology too. Then,
the wait, I didn't get a
yeah,
chance to
come
expound
on,
Sorry.
on
man.
that.
I don't get my glaze.
Well, I was going to talk a little bit more about Ian. Surprise,
Yeah,
surprise.
I'm
But
not surprised.
I mean, Reed, your team looked great. Jamar, that's why you have him, obviously. So there's just not much to say about your team. I feel like they did their job, which is great. That's a great week from you.
It,
Uh,
I basically like I was predicted for right around 140. So like my team performed
yeah,
fine. My opponent performed poorly, so it
yeah,
looks a lot
yeah.
worse than my team actually performed.
I was just going to say, amongst the 12 teams in the league, I think the vibes at Cream City Creamers have got to be the worst. I mean, Chase Brown looks so inefficient. Henderson and Hampton, they each have, you know, worrisome, they just have worrisome games right now. And I just, Brian Thomas, he had a weird thing going on, just dropping passes and then maybe a wrist injury going on in Jacksonville. So I just the vibes with the Creamers is they're not the best right now.
I the the well, first off, I'll victory lap there because I mentioned that in his episode. He's got a lot of young players, a lot of players without a proven role
Yeah,
yet. So early in the year, he could run into some struggles because although he has a lot of studs, they can't cover up everything, especially since his two top wide receiver duo has started slower than I guess what we expected them to do. That puts a damper on the whole team. And when it comes to the Burrow injury, I think you could argue Chase Brown could be taking the biggest hit of all the Bengals skilled players. Like
definitely.
not just their, like you said, even if Brown gets 99% of the touches, they're not going to be in scoring range as often. He's not going to get as many checkdowns because that was one of Burrow's big things. So like those two huge things that were kind of made his entire profile was scoring and catching checkdowns. And if he's not going to be able to get those consistently, that's a huge knock on him. So Ian's going to need the running back room that he completely redid over the offseason to kind of get their shit together here if he's going to start winning some games against some good teams.
Hmm.
Tyler,
Yep.
I now now I'm gonna ask you a question. I know we
I
gotta get
already I
going
already
here,
know what you're
but
going to ask, and I support
yep.
your question.
Okay, good. So Tyler,
What?
I you said well, I scored 167 points, 30 more than Reed, right? You said
Hmm.
you're worried about my team because
Oh,
Penix
never
and
mind.
Marvin,
Different
right?
question.
Hmm.
Okay, so Reed lost Burrow for likely the year. He only has one quarterback. And if you're worried about Marvin, Drake also had a bad game, but you
Yeah.
also told me you're worried about Penix, who supports Drake. So why is this a great week for Reed, but not a great week? And all things are sunny on the other side, but for me, you're worried.
Okay, well, we're not we're not giving a 10-minute dialogue on each team.
That's
I
fine.
just was telling you what stuck out about your team. Yeah, of course, uh, Burrow is worrisome. London has been better than Marv, and so that's why I'm not as quick to say I'm worried about London.
If I could interject as well, Cevan wasn't coming off a sub 100 point week either. So
Yes.
the upgrade for me was a lot more important than the upgrade that you went from week one to week two is also important to factor in.
This is about a 40-point upgrade for both.
Yeah, but when you go from 90 to 140 is different than 130 to 170 is the point. Also, Juwan Jennings, he's back, baby. All the bets are back on. Keon Coleman sucks. Pollard yet to score in double digits, and Juwan Jennings has arrived again, although
And
now dealing with his third
Pacheco
injury of the year.
and Pacheco still is
I
getting
don't have
outtouched
Pacheco.
by
I'm not
Kareem
worried
Hunt.
about that right now. We already
Oh,
talked about him.
okay. You don't have Keon Coleman,
We have a bet against Keon Coleman
and
and
we
Juwan
don't have
Jennings.
we have a bet against Pacheco.
Yeah,
Just
but
end it.
he's not on my team. You just want to bring up something because you can't get victory lapped on. Sorry, buddy. I'll pose now the question that I thought he was going to ask for Tyler. Tyler, do you regret ranking Ian in his own tier above every other team in the league after 2 weeks yet?
Yes.
There we go. Priors confirmed. Second question that I had. Post Joe Burrow, do you guys think I still have enough ceiling to win the championship this year? Assuming that I don't make a dramatic trade for a like top 15 quarterback this year, which is possible but unlikely.
Also,
Uh,
yes.
to win a championship?
To win a cha- Does losing Joe Burrow, both him and the effect that it has on Chase, do I still have the ceiling to win a championship this year?
Probably, but it's very concerning.
It makes the margin for error infinitely smaller now, yes.
Yeah, because in my humble
Infinitely.
opinion, well, in my humble opinion, you don't have a Darnell Mooney to start in Superflex. Oh,
Jawan Jennings.
yeah, my point.
Okay, but again, for most of the year, I'll have Rasheed back, and then I could if I wanted to, if my whatever quarterback I have sucks, I could switch between Jawan or Keenan, and I probably have a passable player there. But again, a flex level receiver is obviously not comparable to any NFL starting quarterback for a super flex league. But my point was not that I'm going to be a starting receiver, assuming I get like somebody to start. Again, this will come out after waivers go through. So let's just say I get Jake Browning, which is not a guarantee, but if I do, I think and yes, Tyler, infinitely smaller is the right word because I'm going from a top five or top six fantasy quarterback to at best like a mid-tier QB2 on his good weeks. So like, yeah, it makes the line a lot or the line to walk infinitely smaller by downgrading there and downgrading my number one skill position player from the number one receiver to, you know, a wide receiver one that, will still have spike games but have less consistency. So
Can, on top, it's on topic. So, let's just say you get Browning. Is it really a downgrade if in one half he had double of Joe Burrow's
yes, but he's not going to do that every
week and a
week is the
half?
point. We've like when he started in 23 for Burrow, like he was like a mid-tier QB2. Like he was a solid fantasy guy. But that's obviously a huge drop from the guy who threw 43 touchdowns last year. Like regardless of Browning doing that in one half, like he's not going to do that every week. So if he's like QB 15 to 20, like that's a huge win for me going from literally not having a second quarterback or a third quarterback to replace Burrow to that is a huge win. And I don't know if that's a guarantee or not. So
Well, it definitely hurts you, but I also did forget you have Keenan. So, I don't know.
wish I had Mac Jones right about now. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That is the end of the week two preview. We are now getting into the week three preview. So going over our picks, last week I got first. You both tied for last. I only missed Reed's matchup. You guys missed a couple other ones, but season total, me and Reed tied for second.
Tied
I
for
think you
Eight
mean
and
last.
tied
four.
for last. Yeah.
Nope. Me and Reed are tied for second. You guys are tied for last. 8 and 4, one behind Tyler. Looks like we got a little bit of variance going into the week, so let's get into the matchups. We got 0-2 Ian versus 2-0 Cam Thorn. This is a good one. Uh, they got we all three had Ian as number one on our final power rankings. Cam Thorn was towards the middle, back half of the back middle, sorry. And oh boy, have the scripts flipped. This had matchup of the week potential. Ian's looking to avoid a hole of 0-3. Cam's trying to get to 3-0. Uh, this could set up to be a very good one. Tyler, start with you. Looking at the matchup, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just, it's so hard to see Ian's team starting 0-3. I do like some of his matchups, but honestly, it's just kind of maybe it's just me th thinking that this team can't start 0-3. It's like, Pat Mahomes doesn't lose 3 games in a row, but then he did, so who
Did you just
knows?
compare the guy
No,
who
no, no,
made it to
no.
semifinals last year to a three-time Super Bowl champion?
No, I'm just saying, like, people were saying that last week about Mahomes, how he lost in the bowl and then week one, and there's no way he loses the third time in a row, but he did. So maybe Ian will too. But I still really like Ian's team, and like I said, I do like some of his matchups. So I think I think he can pull this one out. Maybe he won't. Maybe he will.
Very definitive answer from you there.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Yeah. No, I think is if you would have asked what the chances of this being an 0-2 versus 2-0 matchup on in this direction, you would have thought it would be like 0%, near 0% that this would be a 2-0 versus 0-2 matchup in this direction. But damn it, I am rooting for Cam. Dude pisses me off anytime I try to ask for a trade. But when he is a scrappy underdog like this, I'm rooting for him. I don't even remember who I picked. Cevan, go to the next slide.
One thing I want to point out is no matter what the
Teasing
score
him.
is, no matter what the score is throughout the week, it comes down to Lamar versus Amon Ra, both guys capable on Monday night uh, in Baltimore. So both guys capable of putting up 40. So I think that'll be a fun score to watch.
And we'll know quite a lot too after Thursday. because
Yeah.
Josh Allen and James Cook all play on Thursday, so
Yep.
that'll be a fun one.
Yeah. It looks like I'm staying with the hot hand. We've all picked. No, we haven't. No, but I'm going with the hot hand. Stay true to myself. Cam Thorn gonna start 3-0, and then he's gonna take a good old trip to Monkas Town the week after. So Reed and Tyler, you both sticking with Ian.
Sticky, and this is the first time I've picked Ian.
Sorry, you both picking Ian. I'm assuming it's a 50-50 in all of our eyes. You guys just expect Ian to not start 0-3.
If Ian wins this week, it will confirm that I am in full control of his destiny this season.
All right. Getting on to the next matchup, we have me versus Cam K. Oh, official logo change. I like
I
it.
had to get a picture that fit the size of the screen a little bit better.
That works. Gibbs is elite. Uh, yeah, this matchup, I'm 2-0. Everybody expected that. I'm the only one who's picked myself both weeks, the only one who's right both weeks. Cam K, 1-1, sitting pretty. If you're 1-1, that's good. Just don't want to be 0-2. This should be a good matchup. This is another season prediction of a sweep that I'm looking to avoid early so I can just not hear about it. And yeah, Reed, thoughts?
Kim K really needs Jaden Daniels to play because if he doesn't, this is basically over before it starts for the most part because he does not have another NFL starting quarterback to play. And if he doesn't play, you're losing his best player with no real option, no option you can feel confident in to replace him. Like at that point, I mean, Juwan Johnson's really good, but you're not you're changing from Jaden Daniels to Juwan Johnson. So yeah, there's definitely some scary times on Team K here, but in the end of the day, I think this will be a low scoring matchup. But I am going to pick Cevan in this one, I believe. So
Tyler, thoughts?
Yeah, I'll also roll with Cevan. I'm worried about Jaden Daniels' status this week. Cevan, your team, as much as you think I was hating, still did look quite good. So I feel okay rolling with you in week three here to go 3-0. I brought it up in the duds for Cam K's team, but that tight end spot with Hawkinson right now is really scary to me. And seemingly, I guess he has Juwan Johnson, so Juwan could be slotted in if he were to choose to make that call. But I'll give the edge to Savon here. I guess he's got that luck factor, so.
Yeah, sure.
Mickey
For
Mouse
me, just
Monkas.
just talking about the matchups, I will say for Hawkinson, I think Wentz probably is an upgrade for just all the pass catchers there. So maybe, you know, I don't know. I think Wentz is probably better for Hawkinson and Jefferson at this current point.
I agree.
But if we're just looking at weak links, I don't care who you guys want to call my weak link. I'm calling his weak link Tyrone Tracy against the Chiefs. I think that could be a real sketchy one. But I don't. I like the ceiling. I have better. I mean, if you want it, even if he has Jaden playing. So
You got a lot of options for your weak link. So
yeah, yeah, definitely. Rome, definitely not one of them. Yeah, clean sweep, as expected, and yeah, it's gonna be belt to ass. Season sweep's gonna be the reverse sweep. I'm going 2-0 against Sumner and Cam K. No questions asked. Getting into Swerly and Trent. Trent 1-1. He just needed to get to 100 to win last week, so that's upsetting. Swerly called it that there's no way Genty was going to score less than 13. He obviously did. Those are the wins that he needs to pick up, but on to the next week. 1-1. Somebody's looking to start 2-1 in the first four,
three.
quarter. Yeah, I guess it's more of a fifth. But yeah, starting 2-1 in the 3 game slot is right on pace. That should be everybody's goal. Uh Trent, I
Shouldn't your
mean,
goal to
sorry.
be 3-0?
Well, yeah, but if you go 2-1 in stretches of three, you're going to make the playoffs. So, yeah,
Yeah,
we're all picking Swerly here.
I don't have a whole lot to
Reed,
say here.
yeah,
Trent's team's kind of a mess right now. I mean, as of now, he's going to be starting Judkins in week 2, presumably getting a lot more work, and he looked really good last week, but you're still starting Judkins in week 2. I mean, he got signed last week. Scattaboo in week 2 is the starter against a really good Chiefs run defense, or at least historically a really good Chiefs run defense. Uh, JJ McCarthy's out, so he's then starting Stafford, and yeah, Trent's team's in rough shape right now. Both lost both of his running backs. Sorry, lost Aaron Jones to injury, Isaiah Pacheco to being not used very much. So
not
he's in a
good.
tough spot. Uh, his back's up against the wall, and dropping 90 last week didn't help calm any fears. But he was 5 points away from being 2-0. So who knows how we'd be looking at him if he scored 95 last week to win.
Tyler?
Yeah, there's just too much firepower on Deshaun's team, and it's that simple for me. So roll with Deshaun.
Yeah, to me, this is going to be a race to 130, and I don't think the shape of Trent's roster you can get there. Sean could put up a 160 and nobody would bat an eye. It does suck. He lost a quarterback. Stafford's that's why QB3s are good. He's going to get you 15 points and you'll be all right. But then the benching of Isaiah Pacheco per his lineup, because he's not good at football. Uh, yeah, he's really not good at football. 8 points in 2 games. Yeah, we'll get there eventually. And then, he's put in Scatterbo. He saw the workload change. Uh, they're playing Kansas City, so that'll be sketchy. But yeah, I think Swerly takes this one pretty easily. Moving on to Sumner and Schrader. We have 1-1 Sumner coming off an L, but he had a good week. Schrader has scored 195 points in 2 weeks, one sub 100, one 100, and hasn't looked good. He still does have firepower. Hopefully, he can get a week that, somebody doesn't leave the game in the first quarter with a zero, because that doesn't help anybody.
He's still searching
Then
for it.
yeah, and then Sumner, uh, his team to me is still as sketchy as it was before the season. With T-Law's very sketchy. I guess the only person who's not sketchy is oh, Kamara and McCaffrey. They're good, but other than that, it's sketchy. Hollywood's still seeing. Actually, no. I think I. Oh no, he hit your 5 target mark. Never mind.
Are,
But
are are
yeah,
you are you just talking to yourself at this point, or what?
no, I was looking at Hollywood, and you told me he was guaranteed production, and he had like 5 catches, but
Chiefs
that's
offense
besides the
is
point.
in a very dark spot right now.
Yeah. So yeah, clean sweep again. I don't think much needs to be said, but I'll let you guys get your piece.
If I could pose a question quickly, just because I know he's not a listener of the pod. Over under 3.5 wins this season for Schrader.
Over.
I think I take the under.
Well, the way I'm thinking of it is James had 3, and he stopped after week 3.
Yeah,
So
and he got all 3 of those wins after he did a fire sale
yeah.
because he was
So
0-3 at that point when it happened. Yeah,
for example, like look at Tyler's win last week. Like that can happen to anybody.
except it can't. It was the first time in league history, to be fair.
Yeah, what the?
You get my point. Like 115 to 110, like that happens every week.
Okay, that's fair. I don't even know what I would take there. I'd put him either 3 or 4 wins this year, but yeah, potentially getting Worthy back this week, but it's just it's rough. Like I said, if Henry doesn't go for like 30, where is this coming from? Purdy's still probably out at this point. That's the indications that he's missing another week. Shakir only had 2 targets last week. Like it's scary. It's scary for him. I don't know where the oomph is going to come from. It's not like he's got more guys coming other than Worthy. So yeah, scary times.
Yeah. I feel like Amon Ra would help this roster so much.
Just a stud
But
receiver if he were available.
Yes. Tyler, any thoughts?
I really like Andrew's running backs and McCaffrey, Kamara, and Javante. When you said you feel just as sketchy about his team as you did to start the year, I think that's not adjusting properly,
Hmm.
given how Javante looks and how McCaffrey seems like the same McCaffrey we've seen. I think his team has a much higher floor than I initially thought. And so that's what I'll take here is Andrew's high floor, high performing team over a struggling Schrader team.
I think you need to adjust too. Jordan Mason is on his bench, uh,
Oh yeah,
getting the start
beast.
for the next 4 weeks at minimum right now,
Yes.
Aaron Jones out. So likely someone he's going to be starting. He did a couple of times last year, but starting four running backs, two running backs, and then two running backs in his flex. But that I would guess that's what he'll do this week. But he's got options. Again, his floor is so insanely high because he could absorb basically any injury and still be like mostly competent at the end of the day. So yeah,
That's all valid points. Going into Rob versus Reed, 1-1 each. Rob coming off a tough loss last week. Um, getting second most points scored on you. Reed, how does it feel getting the most points scored on you in a week?
it almost kept me out of the playoffs that year, last year, because that was week 14. I scored 187, 193, something like that. And he scored 228 or something like that. And I was, uh, I was scared because again, that Swerly tie, if he beat Tyler, he was going to kick me out of the playoffs with the third most points scored, and I would not have been very happy. So
Yes. Not fun. The projections look like they came back down to earth.
yeah, they
Um,
got fixed to normal levels.
okay. Still 155 is gross, but yeah, this one tough look for Reed losing, Burrow. We already talked about it, but this has a lot of firepower at each spot across the matchup. Should be a good one. Matchup of the week potential didn't end up being that. Um, we're gonna have to see. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet of Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson getting backup quarterbacks head to head. This will determine who is the best receiver in the NFL. I thought that was a good one.
I was funny, but it's still Justin Jefferson. He's so good.
Yes, definitely. Um, but yeah, Tyler,
Hmm.
sorry, Reed, you straight away from consensus here. Why do you think you're going to beat Rob?
Because before the pod, you told me that Tyler and I have the same picks for every game, so I changed one so we didn't have all the same picks. I
Fair
originally
enough.
had Rob here. I think it'll be a fun game as long as I have a quarterback starting my super flex of some kind. It should be a fun game, but I'd probably still taking Rob to win this game. But for the sake of picks, I'm down by one game. I had to make a move here, so I'll have confidence in myself to pull out the win. Just a gritty performance. First game, Kenneth Walker in the clear workhorse role will be nice. Getting Jawan Jennings back to full strength, even though he's hurt again. I mean, all these things are working for me here. Tyrod Taylor taking over for Justin Fields with a concussion. So, yeah, it's kind of all looking up for me right now.
And then Tyler, you and I are on the same page here. Uh, do you think it's going to be close, or do you
Yeah.
think Rob? Okay,
It was a kind of a coin flip for me, honestly. I just gave Rob the edge because of Reed's hit to that second quarterback spot. But I mean, Herbert and McConkey each have a tough matchup in Denver, so that also kind of weighed into my thought process here. And I do want to bring up that I think it is quite ironic that Reed has been a known hater of rostering backup quarterbacks, unnecessary quarterbacks. And at this point in the season, week two, week three, he might have four quarterbacks on his roster, with two of them being backups. It's a little bit ironic because you have been very vocal about there's no need to roster a backup quarterback. And I don't see why Joe Milton needs to be rostered right now.
Well, yes, that is a very clearly obvious take. Why would you roster back a quarterback? The only reason I'm rostering Joe Milton is because I have Dak Prescott, who does have a lengthy injury history. So, in the event that he gets hurt, I would have a quarterback to play. Well, he
I know.
wasn't the quarterback that got hurt, so it kind of screwed me. But at the end of the day, yeah, there's no reason to roster backup quarterbacks. It's not like a running back handcuff. The quarterback position is not
So,
nearly as injury prone as the running back position.
okay, so what about AR?
Okay, that's obviously an emotional connection, not a process-based result.
I think you could, my point is you could come up, anyone could come up with a reason why they roster a backup quarterback.
Okay, why is Rob rostering Gardner Minshew?
I don't know.
Patrick Mahomes,
Yes, actually.
Why is Rob rostering Kirk Cousins?
because he's going to get traded because there's three.
Who's going to take his contract?
So
I guess
the
I'm just
Browns.
saying
I
it's like
understand it is ironic that I am now in desperate need of picking up some team's backup quarterback, but this does not in any way prove that I should be
no, no, no.
all aboard for rostering backup quarterbacks for no reason.
The ironic part to me is that you're a hater of backup quarterbacks clogging roster spots, and now you'll have four total quarterbacks, unless you drop one of them, which I don't think you will, but
I'll
maybe
have
you will.
five if you count Burrow.
Okay, yeah, so that's just funny to me. That's all.
It shouldn't be funny. You should feel bad for me.
Nobody feels bad. One thing I'll say on Tyler about the Herbert getting a bad matchup is Daniel Jones again, QB1 in fantasy. He might be
Sure.
QB2, but he put up a top two quarterback week against Denver. So and
Okay.
Justin Herbert's been slinging it. It's actually insane.
He has been.
Um, yeah. I don't think this one's going to be close. I'm not
I'm
going to
sure.
call it 200.
Do you want
I'm
do you
not
want to do
going
the
to
same thing
call
you
it
did last
200.
week?
No,
Because you've picked
I
against me in
think
all 3 weeks now.
I think it'll be somewhere around your averages. He'll be around 120. Rob will be around
That's like one.
150.
That's not his average at all.
I
That's
know.
his
I'm looking at
ceiling.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what
No,
I thought, buddy.
it's not his ceiling.
He scored 151, and then he scored 120 something. So this ceiling, 150, is the ceiling, and you just called it his average. And it definitely wasn't his average last year when he finished in 10th.
Well, according to projections, he's going to score 154. So,
That's his median outcome. Yeah, that makes sense.
okay. Well, either way, Rob's going to win. Won't be close. So it doesn't matter.
Week 2.
Prime time matchup.
Are you going to give it the sexy intro, Cevan?
Yeah, I was letting it run.
Can we hear your version of it?
Prime time matchup.
Good. Thank you.
Sandy versus Tyler. Now, fellas, we got ourselves a good one. Tyler is only here because he got a win under 200 points. I called Sandy the winner last week. He got hot. Tyler and Sandy, I think the reason they're in the primetime matchup is they're two teams that we kind of counted out early to some extent. And they found themselves one win from, being probably a top four seed, whatever, through
In
three
week
weeks.
3.
Yes. But that's all the information we have is it's week 3. So can't go any further than that. Anyways, um, I think it's going to be one of those primetime matchups that's like just a gritty 101 to 106 type game. That's the feel it's got for me. DJ Moore is about to get benched. Alec I Alec Iomanor is making his first presence in the lineup. Am I seeing that?
Maybe.
Oh, he's there right now. Okay. Uh, Tucker Craft, Keon Coleman, AJ Brown, we'll see. Uh, this doesn't have much firepower, but it's gonna be a good one. I'm gonna get my popcorn ready for this one.
This is the Thursday night Jags versus Titans type primetime
Yes.
game.
No offense, Tyler, but
No, none taken.
You lost all your aura when Bill had 4 touches last week after we said he raises the aura floor of your team. All that just got thrown out the window after Bill went 4 for
Uh,
17.
he might have to start this week against Las Vegas.
I
I mean, he's the starter now, so it would make more sense.
that's what we said in week one.
That's true too.
I do think it is interesting, just for fun, that they are projected within zero point zero 0.03 points of each other. 136.78 to 136.75. And obviously, that won't be what it looks like at the start of the games on Sunday. But I thought that was interesting to see them that close to each other.
Hmm.
Y- Yeah. Sorry, Tyler, before you go, Cam Ward's more than likely going to have to make his insert into your lineup because quarterbacks with concussions usually miss 1 week. So Justin Fields likely out this next week. Maybe another Bill appearance, maybe an Alick, Io Manor appearance. Um, this is setting up to be a good one. Tyler, give us the case for why you'll win.
Uh, I
He's
picked
sounds like he's
a,
not given the case.
yeah. I feel like with my team, there's players on the bench, or I feel like I have plenty of guys that are worthy of being inserted into my lineup, but it's really difficult to pick the right players to do that. And maybe that's a product. It is a product of what I've built, and that I just have a lot of guys in the same general area. So it's sometimes difficult to put together the perfect lineup, maximizing how many points I'm gonna get. Hashtag bring bring best ball to fine dining. Uh, so I mean, I picked Sandy because I am worried about the quarterback position on my team. Kyler Murray has been mid at best. It's Kyler Murray's vibes are right there with the Cream City Creamers. Pretty
Oh,
bad.
that's pretty low.
Yeah. And starting Cam Ward, if Justin Fields misses, is really scary, especially against a Colts team that is 2-0 right now. So that's why I gave the edge to Sandy. He does have some higher profile names in Bijan, AJ Brown. Tucker Craft at this point is a household name, or at least should be. So that's why I gave Sandy the edge. And I think one of the reasons you didn't mention, Cevan, that this is a primetime matchup and, is there's potentially a chance that Sandy and or myself are selling pieces here in the next few weeks, maybe after week 4 or 5, something like that. Um, if the season has gone south for us by that point, it's definitely possible that either of us is shipping players to other teams.
So you keep teasing everybody that you're gonna sell. Why don't you just sell? Come on, man. You know you want to do it.
I'm still trying to rally the troops, man.
You got time. Your players will be valuable,
It's you
more
guys just
valuable
talk
in
down
two
my team
months.
so much. It's just like
We've picked Savan and I have picked you in both. He picked you all 3 weeks. I picked you in both the first 2 weeks. We are not talking down your team down.
no, you
You're
t
the one who actively brings up like every week. Well, I might start selling soon, and we're just like, okay.
it's I think where that's manifested is that I have so many draft picks, and so you associate a lot of draft capital with selling. But I don't know, maybe I did thread the needle just right here where I can be competitive while also having draft picks and potentially use those in trades. I was saying that back in May, but
You always hedge both ways when we get into this
I know it's
conversation.
it's a bad quality. Tell me when I'm doing that.
Well, it's
Now.
every time it gets brought up. But you're in a good spot. You're right where you need to be, just week by week, and the vision will become more clear in a month.
Thanks, man.
Um, yeah,
Thanks, Dad.
for me, Tyler, I got you winning. At the end of the day, yeah, this team just has no aura. I mean,
Okay. And here's the other thing, by the way, it's not easy when you're texting me Monday afternoon. Here's this Ben Johnson press conference where he's not actually talking about DJ Moore, but he's definitely talking about DJ Moore getting benched. It's like, dude, like awesome, like
to,
auto
to be clear,
loss.
I don't think he's going to be benched. I just think Luther is going to play more, which rightfully so. It should come at the expense of Zacchaeus, but I don't think it's going to,
I mean, can
respectfully.
DJ Moore possibly get less touches than he's already getting him? He's at 8 over 2 games. How much less can he touch the ball and still be a starter?
Good point. Um,
All I know is
so
if you're
this,
selling, I'm not buying him.
no,
That's fine.
You might have to give me a pick to hold him on my roster.
okay,
Okay.
just relax, brother. Um, now, okay, sorry. This has absolutely nothing to do with this matchup,
I hope this isn't a
but
random Bears thing.
no, it has nothing to do with the Bears. I thought this was interesting. I noticed your guys' start sit accuracy. And so while you were talking, I looked at everybody's in the league. And coincidentally, me and Camden only 2-0 teams, and we have the highest start sit accuracy at
Ugh.
88%
Do you think
each.
that's a coincidence, man? Do you think that's a coincidence?
I, well, Rob's third, and he's not third in the league. So
He's pretty close to it.
yeah, he's like a percent off, but
Rob is third in the league, you bozo.
oh, he is. Okay, never mind.
The math's not math in here. Speaking of that,
Okay.
I did have one thing I wanted to bring up. Because Tyler's, it was really relating to Tyler saying that he feels like he's got a weird team where he can't pick the right lineup each week. Um, I don't know about you guys, but I agonize a lot more over wrong starts to decisions than I do over making like a bad trade. Like if I make a bad trade, I mostly just kind of move on. If you make a bad start sit decision that costs you a matchup, like that shit will bother me for like the entire week until the next week starts.
Yep.
I'm
I
the
I
opposite.
I agree because you can work around the trade. You can't get that win back.
I know it's tough. Like you just sit there like, what the fuck was I thinking? Why would I do that? Even though going into the matchup, you probably had 4 reasons why you wanted to do that and why it made sense. But
Yeah,
then, someone scores 20 on your bench and your starter scores 2 and you're like, I'm an idiot. Why? And then it costs you a matchup and it hurts even more.
I agree with that 100%. But all right, fellas, that was a good one. That was the week three preview, week two recap. Reed, throw it back to you.
Yeah, I got nothing else. Looking forward to another fun week of the league. Hopefully we're all coming out here with a win next week, but if not, someone's going to be salty, and it's probably going to be me. But until then, we'll see you next time.